Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about homeschool rules. So if it's your very first time here, welcome. I'm so glad to have you. Make sure that you hit the like and the subscribe button so you can get all the alerts every time I upload a brand new video. Okay, so let's talk about about 5 major homeschool rules that I always try to have my kids abide by. And we've had pretty much the same 5-ish rules. Okay, maybe 6. Let's say 6. The 6 major homeschool rules that we've had since the very beginning. I've been homeschooling my kids since they were in 3rd and kindergarten. They're both boys and they are now in 8th and 4th grade. So we've kind of grown and adapted these rules as needed. And you're really going to have, when you start setting homeschool rules for yourself and for your kids, you're really going to have to look at the ages of your children and their developmental needs. So my kids are pretty mature for their age. I think that kind of goes with the territory a little bit. We are a former military family, so we're kind of used to a lot of independence and initiative, and that's just how our family kind of operates. So for us, these were our best 6 rules that I have, but I never really defined these. These just kind of came as given. I didn't put them up on a wall. Now, when I was teaching and I had 30 kids in a classroom, we had a set of rules, usually no more than 10, and they would go up on the wall. Homeschool and classroom rules are vastly different because you're talking about a larger number of children. Even though you're teaching them all the same thing and they're all the same age, you're talking about a lot more kids. So it's very different schooling 2 kids, even though they are completely different grades and ages, than it is 30 kids. So a lot of the school rules that you're going to see are floating around the internet and everything. It's just not going to pertain to you. You're not going to find that you have the same needs as a classroom teacher. So the first one that I have, and I believe it's the most important, is making sure that we have some kind of general start time. I hate starting at like 12 o'clock, and most of the time we don't, but there are days that, because I work at home, we start late. I hate doing that. So what I have done is my kids have a lot of initiative. So what they will do so they can end quicker, they will actually start on their own sometimes if I'm like really busy that morning, or if I'm not feeling well. They will actually get their books and they will start. They know exactly how to find their assignments. They know how to do all that themselves, and it makes my life so much easier, and I so appreciate it. So we have some kind of a general start time. Typically between 8 and 9:30 is when we will start school. And having that general time makes the whole day flow so much better. So it's really important to us that we start no later than like 9:30 so we can have the rest of the day flow the way that it needs to. Number 2, be organized with your paperwork. We have binders. We have like a binder system where our kids put away their papers, and we have a file folder on the wall as well for when I need to take their tests and graded things, and I will put those away, and I will put those inside of a end of year type of record keeping type of folder. But making sure that all of their papers, when they're finished with them, are in the right spots helps us go to the next subject, and it helps keep things really tidy in the class. So I don't like having our classroom like really messy. It's stressful. Messes are stressful. So I like to make sure that things are put back and that they put their books back and things like that. So having their papers especially go inside of a binder when they're finished really does help. Number 3, listening to directions the first time. Huge one. And this is one that goes with classroom and homeschool room. Listening the first time to directions not only makes it to where it's less frustrating for me and I'm not repeating myself, but they're learning those important skills, those life skills that they need for when they have a job, and when they are off on their own. So teaching them early on to listen the first time when you say something really does help. It's one of those things that Charlotte Mason really talks about in her books, and really tries to reiterate, is listening, making sure that your children understand. Make sure you look at them in their eye, make sure you get down on their level if they're younger, and that will make sure that they are hearing you. And if you really want to make sure that they're hearing you, especially if they're younger, talk to them, look at them in the eye at their level, and then have them speak back to you what you just said. And that really does help. So there's a tip there for you for younger kids. Number 4, if mom is busy with one child, then the other child patiently waits if they also need help. So this doesn't happen all too much anymore, luckily, because my kids are getting older and they are getting more and more independent as we go along. But when we first started, this was something that it was a little crazy. I think that first year we were schooling, I had a kindergartner and I had a 4th grader who had just come out of the public school system, and we were trying to adjust. So that first year, I feel like, is an adjustment period. So if you're going into your first year, or if you're in the thick of it in your first year, don't judge all of homeschool by year 1, because it does evolve, change, and it gets so much easier year after year. I feel like probably by year 3, you feel like a pro. So don't feel like if your kids are just going bonkers sometimes, especially in the first couple of years, that you're doing it wrong. You're not. It happens to all of us. It really does. Just have a system to where if one child you are working one-on-one with, make sure that the other child knows, I will help you in just a minute. Let me finish with this one first. And that's something that we had to do in the classroom as well, because unfortunately, we don't always get teacher aides in the public school system. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. You know, I've had teacher aides before, and there's been years where it was all me. So sometimes it's one or the other. I've been a teacher aide. I have done all of those things, but when you have 30 kids, sometimes you feel like you need 30 of you. Luckily at home, that's not the case, but it still feels like you are being pulled in several different directions at the same time. So make sure that you have some kind of system to where you have your child understand, like, right now I'm working with this with, you know, your brother or your sister. As soon as I'm finished, I'm going to help you with that. So draw on a piece of paper while you're waiting, or read your book. You know, have something for them to do quietly while they wait. Number 5, do your best. I always expect the best out of my kids with their schoolwork. I know that they're not always going to meet every expectation. My kids, I think, are a little bit awesome in this way, because they really like being graded. They really do. It's kind of weird. I know most kids don't like that. Most kids absolutely hate it. I totally get it. My kids, they're one of a kind. I have one child, my youngest, he's such a brainiac. He really is. He if we put him in the public school system, they would probably skip him at least 1 to 2 grades. He is extremely intelligent for his age, and he loves to learn, but he's also a perfectionist. So he really, really tries to get like 100% on all of his papers and all of his grades and all of his tests. And if he doesn't, it bothers him, and sometimes he will almost like beat himself up or get upset when he misses a problem. Now, luckily, that was a problem the last couple of years, but this year I think he's starting to come around. Like, I don't have to have a 100. You know, we've really tried to talk to him and really try to help him through that perfectionist mentality, and he's starting to finally realize, like, I don't need to have a 100 on everything, and it's okay if I make a mistake. My oldest, he was kind of like the opposite. He was like, if I get a bad grade, I get a bad grade. And he's kind of starting to mold into this, like, I really want to get a good grade now. You know, like he's really changing his attitude towards school and towards learning, and that's been really great and really fun to watch. And I think the curriculum that we've picked out has been such a helper in that. He really enjoys My Father's World because he's a big history buff. So using the heavier history type of things has really helped him develop these skills and want to learn more. And when he wants to learn and he's interested in what he's learning, he does better in school. So, you know, he's been really striving the last 2 or 3 years to get better grades, and he's doing so much better. He's doing tremendous. So he knows that I expect the best out of him. And if I see that he's really not doing his best work, then usually we will have them do it over. If they did a poor job and we know that they were just being lazy, we actually have them do it again, because it's going to be a bad grade. You know, we don't want them to have bad grades, but at the same time, there are times that we say, you know, okay, because you put forth so little effort, this is the grade that you get. You know, actions have consequences, but they know going into each assignment, especially tests, and luckily they don't do that on tests, but they know going into each assignment and their tests that we expect their best work. So that's a conversation that we have with them usually every year, like a pep talk at the beginning of the year, and it does a lot of good. So the last one is just really obvious. Clean your area up. So it's the weekend right now. The room is not that bad, honestly. They need to put away a couple of books, but they typically every afternoon when we're finished with school, they have to clean their desks. And cleaning their desks involves a couple of things. About once a month, their desk actually needs to be washed with soapy water, and, you know, just to get the paint and pencil marks and things like that off. And then they have to have all of their books put away, all of their folders put away, all of the school supplies put away at the end of every day, so I'm not stuck with that task. And that also means taking out the trash and vacuuming the floor on the weekends. So they do help me with that, and sometimes I do it, sometimes they do it. It just depends on what's going on, if we have a lot going on that day. But they are responsible for their area. So this is my younger child's desk, and he does a pretty good job keeping everything clean. Our homeschool room is also, especially in the afternoons and on the weekends, it's their art area. So they will come in here with their desks. We have these nice 47-inch desks here, and they will do their clay molding and their painting and all of their artwork. And my son, my youngest one who sits here, he likes to write, so he writes all of his stories and his notebooks and things like that. So this room actually gets used more than their bedroom. So we were really glad that we decided to make this a schoolroom instead of an extra bedroom for my oldest. So this has been such a great thing for them. And because of that, because they use it so much, it has to be cleaned a lot. So we make sure that they clean up their space, and that keeps everybody, especially me, much happier. So let me know what you guys have as far as your school or classroom rules at your house. What are the most important rules for your homeschool? I would love to hear it down below in the comments. That's all I have for you guys today. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Happy homeschool, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.